A very good evening from Super League HQ as we make our way to game week 10 and the point that people really start to take the season seriously. The league is starting to take shape and every point matters. I'm scheduled to have Co-Coms with me tonight, but I haven't heard from him yet. He's got the link, so what I'll do is I will start the show on my own and hopefully with the company of the likes of Smuts and Iain and Alf and Duggan and Ross all in the chat. We will have some Co-Coms shortly, and but in the meantime I will smash through it as I have done the last couple of game weeks. Let's have a quick refresh on where we are. Just to remind people, this is tonight's fixtures. Some very, very interesting looking ones that I really like the look of the Sancte Foss Road one. That should be good. I'm also interested to see what happens at the battle towards the bottom in that Exiles versus Sloths game. Tato as well joining the chat. Evening to you. Evening Jamie, who's there as well. League table has Northern Burn in their usual position at the top of the table. They're on 19 points, while at the bottom, LSK and Stackington both on 6. It was interesting. I know Alf's in a slightly different position, but the 4 newest managers to clubs occupying the 4 bottom spots in the table. Still very tight, although although it is tight, I would say it's not as congested as maybe previous seasons. So maybe the cream really is starting to rise each year as we go forward. And then just before we click through, a little reminder of what the results were last time out. I can say he never spotted that. Interesting. Yes, quite. It is interesting, especially when you consider that, with the exception of Ross, there's plenty of Super League experience and know-how in the other 3 managers. So, but Sloths, of course, are resurging. And they have risen in the last couple of game weeks after a couple of wins. So I will go in any order. I will still leave Haggis till last in case Iain does turn up. But I remember it was very popular last time. So in case of any dull silences, let me add some music to the background. I can't remember which one we liked. Let's try this one for now. And let's enjoy another night of Super League action. This one is called Into the Ducks, if you're interested. So we are starting with East Coast versus Fulchester, and we're looking at the away side first. I don't know if anyone saw it earlier, but Macca was that confident that his side were going to lose that he said if they win, he will offer £20 to a charity and resign immediately from Fulchester. He has been very busy, as I understand, and therefore hasn't really looked at the team and just gone as is from last time. So no changes to that squad. Of course, they lost 2-0 to the Sloths Narrow last time. Evening, Dimble. I hope you're well. As they all just start disappearing. There we go. Evening, Dimble. What I might do actually is different music for each game. That'd be mix it up a bit. We then go to East Coast, third in the table. They only make one change. It's on the substitutes bench. Sarausi dropping out the squad entirely. Rivaldo coming in. Evening, Mike. Hope you're well as well, pal. So everything else remaining exactly the same from the team that beat Vikings 1-0 last time out. So game number 1 of the evening, we kick off and see, was this the last we see of Macca? Well, possibly not, because Barry Ferguson has done, but there we go. First ever goal for Richie Wellens in a Fulchester shirt. And it is 1-1, and what an exciting first couple of minutes we've had here. Both sides are definitely going forward when they get the chance. Yeah, Mike, you missed it. Iain is scheduled to be on, but I've not heard from him. So he's got the link, and if he appears, he appears. If he doesn't, then yeah, I go solo again. It certainly won't be the first time I've done it solo. Serginho injured. Now, Macca did explain that he wouldn't likely be available, so he left me some instructions. Let me just double check what those were. In case I'm not around tonight, at halftime, put Ronaldo up top alongside Constantine. We're not there yet. At 60, blah, blah, blah. Any other injuries, etc., can be on your judgment if I'm unavailable. No worries. So on my judgment, Donny would appear to be a straight swap. Yeah, I've purposely put the music on in the background, Smut. Oh, and Michelini's been sent off. All I saw was he'd lost control. I'm not going to change anything for Macca, but of course, Dimble, you have chance to react to that red card. Dimble's certainly not the type to, I don't think, to at this juncture to just have Kovalchuk on his own. Although the way his performances have been for the last 12 months or so in the Super League, he'd be more than capable. How is the music levels out of interest? Is it too loud? Do you want me to turn it down? Can you hear me clearly in the meantime when I'm talking? It's good to live produce this sort of stuff. Just waiting on word from Dimble on what he wants to do on this red card. Again, with no Macca here, I'm not going to be making any changes for Fulchester. Alf's saying it's very relaxing. Well, that's nice. Everyone wants to be chilled on a Sunday. High pressure game, this Super League management. So anything we can do to relax you. And we are seeing a change. So Bishkan for Hussein. And into DMC, centralize, and no arrows. Presume that's no arrow on Stanic. So I believe that's what Dimble's after. Just wait confirmation. Great start, all downhill from here. Sporting the retro Devils Away kit. Thank you, Dimble. Anyone else still regularly wear their Super League strips that they got a season or two ago? Well, even more than that now. Love to know who's still sporting theirs. Match stats. Coast absolutely battering Fulchester. It didn't seem that one-sided in the text. But the stats suggest that this is a champing on the cards, at least at half-time. Duggan reacting to the Wellens goal there. And Dimble saying enjoy retirement. The Coast stats then, the exception of McLeany, who's obviously not on the pitch anymore, only Taibbi rating below a 7. And Destock has still got my Dragon Season 10 ones there, Laius on the back. As for Fulchester, a mixture of 6s, 7s and 8s littered throughout. Frey and Tudor, the standout players. Now, what was the half-time change Macca asked for? Let me remind myself. In case I'm not around, at half-time, put Ronaldo up top alongside Constantini and Robin central. No worries. And then at 60, swap whichever one of the forwards is lowest rated, most tired for Crespo. Will do. And Dimble saying no change. More one-sided than a double amputee, etc., says Smuts. So let's resume for the second half. Approaching the hour mark. And we pause it on 64. Barry Ferguson having an outstanding performance, 9-star rated, and his goal thus far for Coast. Remember, down to 10 men. Condition-wise, Harry Kuehl dropping to 77 might be a consideration, but other than that, nothing too much to worry about. We know what the full chest change is, so while we wait for Dimble, we can do that. So we're looking Ronaldo 6 yellow, Constantinu 7 no yellow, but Constantinu's only slightly more tired. So we're going to bring Ronaldo off for Crespo. And Dimble is saying roll. So roll we will. Mike saying wasn't around to get a Super League shirt. Got a nice Mega Horse one there. Yeah, there was some class Mega Horse ones. So no change from East Coast, and over 15 minutes goes by, and time flying by. Are we going to get a late winner? Free kick, nothing comes of it. Into injury time. And the 10 men hold on. Well, that second half was very much of a nothingness. But the game finishes 1 apiece. It means Macca hangs around another day in the Fulchester hot seat. Barry Ferguson getting man of the match. Mike saying, wow. Yeah, Barry Ferguson, man of the match for his performance. Yep, Stan dropping to a 6 from where they were at half time. Gattuso, the only man on the pitch for Fulchester that ended the game on a 6 because Ronaldo was subbed off, a couple of yellow cards, but nothing much to write home about. But when you consider the match stats, I'm sure Macca, when he watches this back, will be very happy indeed. Let's mix this up again then and go. What are you thinking? LSK Vikings deserves maybe. Acoustic cinematic. Let's do it. LSK make a couple of changes. They keep the same formation. Maldini comes in for Honcho, drops to the bench. And also Boya comes in for Guerrero in the 2 changes from the 2-2 draw with Stackington. Mrs. Yeah, go on then. As Mrs. Smuts has politely requested. Macca was sweating for a while. We will come back to we'll come back to LSK. Foss Road. So Foss Road are away at Sancto. They're without the injured Maresca. Riquelme still out long term as well. They've gone ultra. Want to know who gets booted, Smuts? They've gone ultra defensive with the atheist tactic against Sancte. I do hope that with all this talk of atheists and the religious undertone to your opposition, that Mrs. Smuts is watching this as well, because we all know how much she enjoys religious-based comedy. Oh, of course, last time out they got absolutely hammered away from home by Badgers. And Duggan appreciating the tactic file name. As for Sancte, Jorgatos, I believe it was described as the longest orange injury of all time. Still unavailable. Petit suspended. They go 2 up top, going back to the potato peeler formation. Ronaldinho playing up top. Last time out, they did get the win away from home to Red Rose Stanley. Smuts asking, be gentle, oh blessed one. 30 seconds. Duggan doesn't normally care, but just in case. Is this music setting the right atmosphere for Sancte versus Foss Road? It also sounds a little bit louder, so let me know if you want me to turn it down. He doesn't care anything it is. So we kick off game number 2. I think this is the 3rd away game in a row for Foss Road. We're already half an hour in, nearly at half time. This is going to be a very low stat affair. Mike suggested we should have some Ave Maria or something. Yes, unfortunately I'm not paying for the royalties. I already pay out enough. Match stats then, really not one to write home about this when you consider how dominant East Coast were at half-time in the first one. This is just 2 Fulchesters up against each other. So that's the 3rd away game on the spin. 4 home games up next. So here are the Sancte stats, and instantly jumping out is the difference between Ndai's 9 and Gerard's 5, of course playing next to each other. Duggan saying as is for us, no worries. And it is exactly to plan so far for Smuts, because he told me he wanted to get to half time at 0-0. Slightly more even distribution of ratings, but nothing spectacular for Foss. The only thing of any real interest is Alex getting booked. And there's Rob in the chat. Evening, Rob. Hope you're well, pal. It's Rob's birthday the other day. So on behalf of everyone at Cmsl, happy belated birthday, Rob. Smuts going as is. So we go to 60, which we're nearly there. This game really is dull. And 59, close enough. Still 0-0, nothing much has changed, although Gerard has managed to boost his rating to a 6. Rob's enjoying the background. Thanks, we're trying different ones for each game to see what people like for episodes where I'm seemingly on my own. While we wait for news from Sancte, let's have a look at Foss Road. And it's pretty much exactly the same. Although I think they've got more 6s than they did at half-time, which suggests that Sancte are shading the second half. Zé Roberto dropping to 70% fitness. So let's see if Smuts thinks that it is a myth or not. Which manager blinks first, Sancte or Foss? What do we think? Who's going to end up winning this with half an hour to play? Let's have some predictions in while we wait for the managers. You might refuse to blink first, Smuts, but you're delaying us getting on with stuff. And you're the one who's got the traitors. Did I get what message? Oh, hang on. No, I don't have any messages that I can see. No need to apologise, mate. These things happen. There's been many a message that I've sent in the past that, for whatever reason, didn't pop up in the chat. Try again. Mike confirming he's only seen a half-time message as well. Look at action zones. We can have a look at action zones, but saves the screen doing nothing while we wait. I've had a text to say go as is. No worries, will do. Thank you, Duggan. And Smut's going as is. See, these are all coming through. There's another one. So we got all the messages from you, apart from the one that said go as is. So both managers sticking with what they've got. Let's resume the action. And there is the goal for Ronaldinho. And it's 2. Argel scores. And surely that's enough for Sancte to pick up the win tonight. And it was nearly 3. And Zé Roberto, the warning wasn't heeded. And now his fitness has come into question again. An injury. And there's the traditional FFS when a player of Zé Roberto's quality goes off injured. No, you can't. Injuries are just straight swaps. You should know this by now. You've been in the league long enough and you've been a manager for a season and a half nearly. Doug has just sent me a screenshot of his chat where his messages are showing up, and that said divine intervention because not making the changes has seen him take a 2-goal lead. So we've got Yakubu has switched with Liverani. Tato keeps keeps pointing this out that more people does not mean more goals, and so far he's been proven correct. And that Sancte nearly got the third. They've been threatening for a while, but they'll settle for a 2-0 lead and a comprehensive win. Impressive on that Paris runway, Ronnie. Indeed, he was. Argel man of the match, goal, 10 out of 10 performance. Really solid numbers throughout from Sancte. Doug will be absolutely delighted. As for Foss, distinctly average as they normally are away from home. And ultimately, on the end of the result that the performance and stats suggested they would be. They will be very much looking forward to getting back home in the next few game weeks. But congratulations, Duggan and to Sancte on a very impressive win. Next up, we are skipping that in case Iain turns up. So let's just go to the top of the list. We're going to Exiles versus Sloths, and that means I can change the music. I think it was Daydreaming that Ryan used to play, so I'll skip that one. Let's go Into Space next. So, Sloths, 2 wins in a row, and Alf, the only manager heeding the warning of the upcoming internationals and making a few swaps in terms of the reserves. So this is his current 24 ahead of the international call-ups. Figo still unavailable, Addo still unavailable, and Smith joining them on the injury sidelines as well. He keeps the super narrow. A couple of personnel changes, sees Adilson move central with Etsabaria playing on the right-hand side. Other than that, I think it's the same. Yes. As last time out, which was, as we saw earlier, that 2-0 win over Fulchester. Exiles mix it up. They go back to the YY formation, and a first appearance of the season for a still injured Nicholas Anelka. He still has that orange injury next to his name, but Rox has had enough and he wants him playing. Of course, he has been out with torn ligaments in his knee, so let's hope he doesn't get a recurrence of that injury by being risked too early. There's Martin saying, "Mon the Sloths." Last time out, they lost that game the other night, 2-0 to Haggis, which prompted Iain to go on saying about his in-game management and how maybe he's better than other people give him credit for. So let's see, Exiles v Sloths, huge game at the bottom of the table. What do we have in store? It's Exiles who've started the quickest, but Sloths take the lead. It's Adilson from 20 yards, giving the away side the advantage. Yellow card for Luis Enrique. Raul has a shot that's blocked. Sloths coming forward again. And there it is. It's a goal for Saha. It's been disallowed and Nelka was offside. Saha's furious. Possibly picked up a booking for his reaction now. I'll have to check that at half-time. And it's 2. It's Luis Enrique. Oh, and it was so nearly 3 on the stroke of half-time. And there is the half-time whistle. Sloths beating Exiles by 2 goals. Rob saying, "Up the Marrow lovers." And Martin saying, "Adilson unstoppable at the moment." Alf's got the boys cooking. Love it, says Rob. They're certainly effective in front of goal. 5 attempts, 4 on target, 2 goals. Exiles, well, remember the promise was that he'd have the most goal involvements, not the most goals scored. Just 2 attempts at home to a team that was bottom of the league only two games, well, in fact, only 1 game ago. Could Exiles be hurtling their way towards the bottom of the table? Here are the Exile stats. Lots and lots of 6s with a couple of 7s for good measure. Tato enjoying seeing the demise of Rox's side, literally just laughing at him, saying it's madness. And they're unslothable. Very good, Martin. Very, very good. Saha wasn't booked. I noticed. I did check. As for the Sloths, everyone with the exception of Baronio on at least a 7. Duggan's saying that Alfbridge Narrow bringing the true chaos. And Martin suggesting that Rox needs to use the double sweeper and long ball. It's the key. Are we liking Into Space, by the way? Is it a nice little background music for this one? Alf going as is. Have I even seen Rox tonight? 1 sec. Just scrolling back through to see if I can see any messages from him. I don't think so. So I'll give him 30 seconds. Manager and assistant manager discussing publicly what they do with their team? Or is it technical director or director of football or whatever position Martin has? Nothing seemingly coming in from Rox, so we'll leave it as is. I'll double check that I've not had any messages from him, in case he's having the same issues Duggan was having earlier. No, the only other comments were from Jens, which I've got. Even Scott, how are you, pal? I love the Super League. That's how confident we are, Fyfie. No secrets here, says Martin. Well, we resume for the second half. No changes there for Exiles. We reached our mark, and Exiles have certainly applied a little bit of pressure, but nothing to show for it in terms of reward. Oh no, Sahar was the player booked. It's because they're all in the wrong places. I can't remember where they are. Sahar was booked. Just a note for when Rox watches this back as to how his players were getting on. As for Sloths, Zidane joins Baronio on a 6. Everyone else still 7 or 8. 3 yellow cards throughout the team. Enrique, Johnson and Etsabaria. Conditionally, nothing really to worry about. And Alf throwing his technical director of football, assistant manager, whatever he is, under the bus by making the change that was suggested and blaming it entirely on him. Four minutes being added on. And Zambrotta gets his first of the season to offer a lifeline. Oh, they've done it! They've done it in injury time! Saha gets his goal. He had one ruled out earlier, but in 2 goals in added time. And Exiles have stolen a point at home to Sloths. And I'm just reading the chat where you see Duggan say can't pay any more respect to Alpha Martin than to say that 11 is absolute dog shit, but the tactic file is clearly fire. Dimble saying midfield of Baronio, Holland and a broken Zizi. Bossing, what is this madness? And then here we go, look. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow, absolute limbs. Oh, my, says Scott. Chaos, says Dimble. Viva la Super League, what the fuck, says Duggan. Martin's going back to his box. Alf's blaming Martin. Stephen Reed, just in capital letters. Scott saying this is why he loves the Super League. And yes, you may well say, Tato, they were very late limbs. And this was the comment that I missed, but just before the carnage started at Reader Chad after the interval, let's hope it pays off. 2-2 at full time. And when you look at the stats, you would suggest that Exiles deserve the point, but unbelievable the way it came about. Looking at the stats, significantly improved ratings for the Exiles team. Anelka making it through 90 minutes as well. Don't turn up for 6 weeks and this shit happens. Sorry, Alf. Martin blaming the fans. The unslothable Adilson getting man of the match for this one. Stephen Reed certainly contributed when he came on. But yeah, Alf will be looking as to what happened in injury time to cause the throwing away of a 2-goal lead against the bottom of the table rival. He even says there, we were strolling it. No, we don't want Haggis. So let's go to Stanley versus Northern Burn. And we will go from into space to... Is Rock going to be too heavy for this game? But this is obviously the former Super League music and used on late limbs as well. What do we use? Dance Pop that I use on FRI maybe? Let's try this one. These two strike me as dance pop type icons. We are poor in the air. Must be that. Warns us the scapegoat. Northern Burn, make one change. If you spotted it there, Keane suspended for this one. So Rostov comes into the 11 in the only alteration from the 3-1 win at home to Dudley Hill last time out. As for Rose, they too only made one change, and it was Zanoni coming into midfield over Geisler from memory. Everything else remaining the same. They were on the receiving end of that 2-1 defeat to Sancte last time out. I think this game number 5. And a very early injury for Ugo Ekiog. He's been a rock at the back for Stanley. And no natural central midfielder on the centre back on the bench. I would presume Sand is going to move back. Maybe Phil Neville coming on, or David's possibly dropping back as well. Mike said, crying out loud. Very, very early injury, that. Could we see Robbie Savage moving in centrally? So we're going Sand back, David's back, C-Mac back, and Pinto on. No problem. Let's see if we can get some actual action now. Burn applying all of the pressure. It's weird hearing this music for so long. I've normally switched it off by now. There's Montella on 15 minutes, giving Burn a deserved lead. They've absolutely bossed this game. Duff goes in the book. And Stanley just with a chance or two there. Forcing Burn into a clearance and a save. That's another warning. Northern Burn maybe just need to watch their discipline here. Scott saying Robbie Saville. Surely Maxon gets a goal in this one, says mine. What's happened to a once great club, asks Scott. Match stats. Burn have had over double the amount of chances, but an equal amount on target. And the one thing we always say about Stanley, they might not be the most entertaining to watch, but they are ruthlessly efficient in front of goal. 100% on target rate again. Looking at the stats, Segalko and Pinto both on 6s tells you that they're maybe not at their very best in an attacking sense. It's not quite clicked for them so far tonight. But then you get players like Roberto Carlos and Edgar Davids rating 8s. As for Northern Burn, nobody rating below a 7. Mike Duff, the only player on a yellow, and nobody below 91% fitness. See the chat that the debrief between Martin and Alf continues. And both managers come through at the same time with as is. So we carry on to 60. And there's the equaliser for Segalko. 49 minutes, it's 1 apiece. And he's done it again. He's got a double. So 2-1 at the hour mark. Maxi Sigalko with a double. And am I right thinking? Yes, his first double of the season. What a time for it to come against Northern Burn. No real conditional issues. Mike saying, guess who's back? Mike say, at least I got something right. And Doug says, sorry, Ian. It's his fault for slandering Maxim last night in the WhatsApps. You also, if I read it correctly, you made reference to him earlier today when you were describing the ex-Wolves striker who plays for Liverpool, whose name escapes me for the moment, as a peak. Certain season Sigalko. Jota is the name I'm looking for. I did enjoy his goal today where he absolutely ballsed up the first contact but got ever so lucky. And none of the Bournemouth players reacted at all to the cock-up, and he was able to score. Without even seeing his team, Ian's gone as is. At this point, I'm presuming Ian isn't coming on tonight either. I do like Jota, to be fair. I'm a big Jota fan. I liked him a lot of Wolves as well. And considering I have no allegiance to Liverpool, I have to say that is it Darwin Núñez? I think there's a real player in there. Considering even when he scores, he gets criticised. I think there's a player in Darwin Núñez. Mike sending a lot of as-is. So we'll presume he's going as is. For the benefit of Ian, he's already gone as is, but just so you can see what's going on. There you go. Scally goes in the book. And are Stanley going to get a huge, huge win here over Northern Burn? They are! They've done it! Stanley 2, Northern Burn 1, Sigalko double. Helping Stanley and helping everyone chasing Northern Burn at the top of the table. Huge victory. Northern Burn just not quite at the races by their usual standards tonight. As Sigalko turning up when he was most needed. Sander Westerveld picks up man of the match, which tells you everything. Roberto Carlos also having an extremely good game, as did Neil Scally. And again, yes, all of a sudden that league table tightens up. Yeah, I said at the start how it wasn't quite as tight as it had been in earlier seasons. Good game, says Mike. And a massive win that for the Stanners, this. A look at the Northern Burn stats. And to be fair, the ratings aren't half bad. Ortega's a 6, which is unlike him, but I don't think Ian will be too concerned at anything there other than the scoreline. But congratulations to Mike and the Stanley boys. Huge, huge win for them and the league. Does that take us to... Oh no, that must have only been game 4. Okay, so we'll go back to LSK. And we swap it over again. I don't think we've done this one yet, have we? Oh, this is the Ryan one that gives Duggan PTSD, isn't it? So LSK Vikings then. Jens has sent me predetermined subs. We already looked at the LSK teams. Just a reminder, Bowyer coming in for Guerrero, Maldini replacing Honsha. Vikings were the team I mentioned in the group chat that were littered with absentees. No Lasisi, no Boma, no Jeremy's, no Emerson. Has prompted a little bit of a think for Jens. And this is the team he goes with. Yepes partners Ferdinand this time. The defensive midfield line has Kaladze and Paredes in the middle. Skoviak and Nedved in that central midfield role. But Brozek continues to support Henri. And we've got a ghost game. Well, go on then. As Scott's here, I was going to leave Haggis till last, but Scott's here. I'll do it. So Dudley Hill then, the away side for this game. Rustico injured. Vogel out for a month as well. Has seen a couple of alterations, including the tactic. We're going to Dudley Hill Season 15 version 2. Bruno and Brugic make their first appearances of the season. Steve, I'll give you 30 seconds if you want any particular numbers. On the earlier chat, Martin says Nunez is almost 25. No idea how he continues to get a free ride. 4 goals since September, might as well. Oh no. Obviously I don't watch a lot of Liverpool. Whenever I do, his shooting can be wayward at times. I'll give you that. But the threat he offers, he's ridiculously quick and also physical and half decent in the air. Now, Tato being an Everton fan, I'm wondering if I've read the situation wrong with Nunez because he's saying he likes him. Nothing from Steve, so I'm just going to auto this. Scott saying, not clinical enough for me. Expensive Bamford. Oh, they say, no, I actually like him. Expensive Bamford. Ooh, harsh. The Haggis team then, they've got their new signing and he comes straight into the 11 on that left-hand side. No Gomez and no Samuel. Sees a slight alteration. So Kufre partners Cannavaro, but that tricky treble up top of Del Vecchio, Vieri and Van Nistelrooy continue. Scott, in Ian's absence, do you want any particular number? No, lovely. Right, let's kick this one off then. Haggis versus Dudley Hill. And see how our new Game 5 ends up. Quite a busy opening 6 or 7 minutes here, but no goals to show for it. Dudley's certainly in this game in the early exchanges. Kufre goes in the book. And there's Vieri with his first of the season. It's taken 10 games for Vieri to get a goal. And as soon as one comes, two comes, and it is 2-0 to the home team. Cole goes in the book. Steve suggested in his tactics submission that Dudley back to winning ways starts here. Well, they're going to have to do something miraculous for it to happen. 2-0 down at the break. They've created plenty though, just not converted. Haggis 4 attempts, 4 on target, scoring 2 of them. But look at that from Dudley. They're very much in the game, just not managing to score. Decent ratings throughout for the home side. Scott already going as is till 60, not messing around at all. Just looking at the ratings here and the fitness conditions as well. What's suggesting Vieri be back to Ryan's training camp? Mike saying classic. Oh, I keep moving. Classic Dudley. Got the Dudley Hill stats on the screen now. Scott, I believe it was, identified the new Haggis signing as well. No. All chat is welcome here, Martin. You know that. In fact, let's bring this one up. He scored against Burnley, Bournemouth, Forest, West Ham, Toulouse and Lask in games where you had 9 million chances. You can always find a stat to back up anything you want. I think when people bring up who players have scored against, it's a bit harsh because you can only score against who you're up against. And the thing with Liverpool is, generally speaking, they've got Mo Salah scoring all their goals anyway. And when he's not there, Jota scores. So it's not on Nunez to be that 20, 30 goal season striker. Nez Duggan, I think he's a liability, but he makes things happen, even if he doesn't finish. Fucking hate how many he misses. Back on the old Aldrin juice. Ironic with the music playing as well. I don't think Steve's here, so I will carry on to 60. I have no notes from him. And it's all Haggis at the moment. Ball steeple sider. And he's got a hat-trick! Fyfie doesn't score for 9 games and gets a hat-trick on game week 10. He's on the Benidorm beers, is he? Well, he's going to need them when he watches this back. Getting absolutely hammered. Hat-trick for Fyfie. And Scott making changes. Fyfie's going up top on his own now. So Jacques Frood drops 2 MCs. Jacques right, Del Vecchio left with arrows. Fyfie central. So with Steve not here, we won't do much. We'll just, look at Apiati. He was doing quite well, but his last 3 games now, 5, 6 and a 4 tonight. Maybe there's a question mark over that goalkeeping slot. There's Devecchio with the latest chance. 4 minutes being added on. Plenty of yellow cards being dished out. There's the final whistle, and Haggis run out 3-0 winners. If you were to look at the stats, you would say that Haggis probably deserved the win. But perhaps you would argue 3-0 was a little bit unfair on the away side. Fyfie, unsurprisingly, getting man of match. But look at that debut performance as well, which included 2 assists from left wing. Scott will be delighted seeing that. Dudley Hill. Abiati actually raised his game to a 7 by the end. But 5s for Gamara, and for Comandini, and just a whole host of 6s in between them. Congratulations though to Haggis, big win that. And now we go to Stackington Badgers. Stackington without D'Alessandro and Amoroso. Rayed, who you might remember came into the team last game, scored 2 in that 2-2 draw. He keeps his place unsurprisingly against the manager that brought him in. And we've even gone to a Badger bashing formation. Casillas, we were discussing, or there was a brief chat about the arc of Casillas this season. 2 sendings off in his first 2 appearances, to performing really well last few games, to the point that he got Young Player of the Month in the latest round of awards. As for Badgers, nothing fancy from them. You know exactly what you're getting, but they have made a change. Nicky Forenko starts this game. Penultimate game of the night then, Stackington hosting Badgers. Absolutely nothing in the first 10 minutes. And that'll be a killer for Ross with an injury to their newest edition. Since coming in, he's played 3 games, and look at the steady and impact he's had on the Stackington team. 3 8s in a row. So going to be a big miss from Lucinov, the man chosen to come on as a straight swap. Oh, I didn't change the music. We've pretty much done them all now. We've done night driving. And Duggan's absolutely right. No luck at all at Stackington. Reds injuries, the whack. But there's a goal from Mendieta from midfield. And they lead at the break 1-0. Are they going to bash those Badgers? It's not exactly an entertainment fest that you're going to write home and tell your kids about. But 1 shot, 1 on target, 1 goal for Stackington. You can't ask for much more. Tato saying, I need all the help I could get away from home. Jeez. And Duggan reacted to that big goal on the stroke of half-time. Just got the Stackington ratings up on the screen at the moment. For those who believe there's something in it, the injury has taken condition down to 33%. Everyone on a 7 or above that remains on the pitch, with the exception of Matthias Kesman on a 6. 100% hit rate as is, please, says Ross. No worries at all. As for the Badgers, Nicky Butt is on a 9. Desai is on an 8. Lots of 6s and 7s other than that, though. Tato did spot as well. Rayhead with the assist. And he's going as is till 60. Will do. And there is Desai, who's first of the season to level things up. Yellow for Hippia. We've reached the hour mark. Oh, there was a big chance there for the away side. And the game pauses with Badgers having a corner. 1 apiece as it stands. Badgers are the team applying the pressure. Hippia, the only player in the book. No real conditional concerns for Stackington. Match ratings wise, Petrov and Morientes on a 6. Everyone else 7 or above. Taste says he feels like I'm battering them away. I'm battering them here, but away form is so sketchy. Well, I agree. Look at the Badgers ratings. Valgarin, the only player on a 6. Everyone else 7 or above. Not that Tato cares about this, but Nikiforenko 79. Everyone else above 80. While we wait for the managers to react, action zones. It actually looks like Stackington have slightly edged it, ever so slightly edged it in each of the action zones. Oh, have I? Oh, I've misread that. Sorry, mate. Oh, yeah. I didn't notice it either, obviously. Defoe for Morientes. And Tato is rolling till full time. Stackington have edged it. No. So yes, Defoe on, Morientes off. And Badgers going as is. And there's Kesman, his first ever goal. And in injury time, it's the 95th minute and Klompe has gone off injured. This is very true, Mike. This is very, very true indeed. And yes, I remember that as well, Martin. Tater saying, good game. It's not over yet. I mean, you don't actually have a defender on the bench either. Who do you want to put there for 20 seconds? Well, there's no tactical changes, but I can do that first bit for you, no worries. Larson just wandering on into DM. And there's the final whistle. And I'd love to see... Oh, it would be so good if he got the assist as well. Stackington with the win. I mean, that is a champing as champings go. And there you go. Mike said, it has, however, brought you a win. So, you know, potato. So Ross said he takes it if he gets the 3 points. They certainly did. In like I say, an absolute champing. Spreadsheet nerdery. Is nerdery a word? Kesman's actually ended up getting man of the match in this one. And, you know, Koku played all right. So maybe it's a consideration for future games. Doug will make a great point. Be surprised if anyone scored 10 plus in the predictions. So I'm against the grain results tonight. And Dimble saying take a home win there, me. Badger stats. Toldo having a rare average game. Everyone else playing absolutely fine. As you could probably tell from the match stats, to be fair. So I don't think Tato will be panicking too much. And that brings us back to the last game with the absentee ravaged Vikings that we saw earlier, taking on LSK, who we looked at the team twice already. Third time lucky for them. So final game of the night, LSK hosting Vikings. And Vikings take the lead through Thierry Henry. Do I have one more music? I can't remember which ones we have or haven't done. Baumer has made it 2. Pizarro's pulled 1 back for LSK. And we get to half time. Match stats. Well, the first half did fly by. I'm not a fan of this music at all. Very few chances. Duggan had said Vikings dropped points against LSK and the bookies have cleaned up. And then blamed Jamie for what he saw happen next. Well, I will put Jamie's stats up while I bring the message that I got from Jens earlier onto my screen. This music's horrific, by the way. Just leave the time, but if we're down at 60, Keane can come on for Brozek if Brozek is a 7 or below. So he's going as is at half time. We've got change coming. Bergkamp for Tristan. Oh, right, yeah. Bergkamp, Tristan, 3 up top. It certainly did, Martin. Muscle Ian. And here are the Vikings numbers, just for reference. As I said, the message from Jens was no changes at half time, and only Keane to come on at 60 if losing and Brozek is rated 7 or below. One of those things is happening at the moment. And LSK have been huffing and puffing, but have failed to blow the Vikings' house down. All the talk about draft nights. So can LSK get themselves back into it? They've done everything but thus far. Del Piero could be an option here as well if Jamie wants to really go for it. They're not losing. So I will not do the keen change. Because it said if we're down and Brozek is rating this. Well, those two things are not happening, so we leave as is. Longer arrows on the wing backs. And arrows on MCs. No worries at all. This game could have late drama. I'll slow it down. Fine save. Corner kick to Vikings. Into the final 10 minutes. Into the final 5 minutes. Ferdinand picks up Paredes. Balmer. Omri. Cafu. There's Razoo yellow. Free kick to Vikings. They thought it might have been a penalty there. Omri missing the header. And LSK trying to come forward. Are we going to get injury time drama? Nothing happening. One last chance, maybe. Nedved, though, they're on the counter. And the game finishes LSK 1, Vikings 2. Not the most entertaining game of the night, but there looked like, there was significant pressure and either side could have scored in those remaining few minutes. The LSK stats, ratings-wise, not a bad performance at all. Tristan not really contributing in that second half as much as Jamie would have liked. Mike saying no stopping the plundering Vikings at the moment. And Nedved picks up a man of the match in a game that Vikings have won in spite of Brozek and Kaladze both finishing on 5 ratings. I've got to turn this music off, it's horrific. But that concludes the action for this evening. So a reminder of your classified results. Yeah, absolutely, Duggan, who said big night for the Vikings that tonight. So the full-time classified results: East Coast 1, Fulchester 1, Exiles 2, Sloths 2, Haggis 3, Dudley Hill 0, LSK 1, Vikings 2, Sancte 2, Foss Road 0, Stackington 2, Badgers 1, Stanley 2, Burn 1. Leaves the table looking like this after 10 games. Vikings top 20, Burn 19, East Coast 18, Badgers 18, Haggis 17, Stanley 17. That completes your top 6. Then below the dotted line, Sancte 16, Foss Road 14, Dudley Hill 11, Fulchester 11, Exiles 10, Sloths 9, Stackington 9, and it is now LSK slightly adrift on 6. Up the stack, says Ross, indeed. Next time out will be Thursday night, where I'm scheduled to be joined by Martin. And we will be overseeing huge game at the top of the table as Coast entertain Burn, Exiles Badgers, Foss Road Vikings, Haggis Sloths, LSK Dudley Hill, Sancte Fulchester, and Stanley versus Stackington. Thank you very much to everyone for joining me this evening in the chat. I wasn't expecting to do it solo, but just over an hour, and I think we've had plenty of excitement and intrigue, and the table's shaping up nicely. There should shortly be an announcement on the next Australia squads as well. So interesting to see what happens there if you look for the side stories going on in the Super League. It's been a pleasure, and I will send packs out probably tomorrow before FRI, and I will speak to you all again on Thursday. But until then, good night.